Hello, and welcome to episode 48, I think, of Eledor Plays Minecraft. Jeez, I'm messing up my intro today. Horribly. So anyway, I figured I haven't actually been touching this for a while, so I might as well do a little bit of this for now. Let's fill it in a bit. Because unlike the original design, I've kept it fairly flat all the way along. Which isn't quite accurate, because I believe the hood did have a bit of a elevation. Very slight elevation in its... don't really have enough birch, do I? This is basically so the colony can sort itself out for a bit, maybe. Ah. Always with big builds in Minecraft. Make sure you got the energy to finish them. Part of my problem is had the colony going as well, so never really got around to finishing. Jeez. I am totally tough stuffing this up. I have been playing the Battlefield 6 beta. It is good. I have issues with how people are playing it. You got to do challenges to unlock things for when the full game comes out. One of those challenges is you have to do rushes. So you go do the rush, and then you're constantly finding people playing like a team deathmatch or something. Like they're not focusing on the objectives, and then you see the team just constantly lose because of that. So for a rush, you have it's 12v12, which equates to 3 squads. And in my view, and this is how, if you're on defense particularly, you should be operating on a 2 squads are on permanent defense on each point, and another squad is on roving active defense. So if one area is getting attacked, they move into to block them. Because the issue is, the second you take defense off one point, then the enemy just redirect, and if they can, and they will destroy the point you were protecting. And especially if everyone runs off to protect the other point which is getting attacked. And these individuals, they're just guarding it on their own, and then they get swarmed by 4 or 5 guys. The amount of times this happened to me is a bit too many. Oh, I'm already out? Yeah, I guess we can zoom. A little bit of progress. So, if anyone's not sure what this whole construction is, this is, or supposed to be eventually, HMS Hood. The battleship which was famous, or battle cruise as people like to say, that was famous for being destroyed by the Bismarck, even though it had a 20-plus year career before then, which people like to forget about. And was, for a good 20 years of that period, the biggest warship on the planet. Full stop. I think the next closest was about 10,000 tons lighter. And those were aircraft carriers. Yeah, I think the Hood at peak weight, I think was about 45,000 tons. Just to put that in comparison, the Queen Elizabeth class, which are seen as quintessential battleships of the period, which is the Warspite, Queen Elizabeth, all those, they weighed about 33,000 tons. And then you had the Nelsons, which weighed closer to 35,000 tons, depending on how you count the weight for them. Because there's some somewhat kooky mathematics going on there at times. Yeah, I think one of the biggest problems I'm seeing with Battlefield 6 at the moment is it's not really an easy way to communicate things. And you don't have a commander, so to speak. So if you had someone who was going, Squad A, B, you do this and this, doesn't necessarily mean Squad A, B do that, but at least you got a little bit of direction happening, which I think, especially with the bigger 32 vs 32 maps, I think they're planning to get bigger than that too, eventually. Oh boy. Where did I put them? There. Otherwise, you're just going to have a ton of people running around doing not a lot. Also, I noticed there's people who just keep grabbing the vehicles and don't use them properly. Like, they just sit back in cover and don't actually push on points or anything. And then there's no one actually backing up the vehicles either. So when a tank goes in, you should have infantry flanking it. And I think tanks are often leaving their infantry cover behind, which leaves them really open to engineers firing a couple of missiles at them. I may be playing Battlefield 6 a lot. Honestly, I haven't played a proper Battlefield game since Battlefield 4. Partly because I went into a bit of a strategy game phase at the time, I believe. Or this is my personal opinion. I started playing a lot of Paradox games at the time and getting into them. But also, I also skipped Battlefield 3. So my main experience with Battlefield was Battlefield 2. And the mods which came out of that. Like, I think there was one which is called Battlefield 2 Allied Intent or something, which was this mod which was set up basically to give players a chance to fight a lot of AI enemy. Because I really liked the concept of a Battlefield game where there was no players. Because, as always, my love-hate relationship with PvP is quite long. I tend to find it can, especially if people are being toxic, it can really ruin the experience. So it goes from being a fun time to being oh, what am I wasting my time doing this for? Ow. Don't think we've got any more. Yeah, for doing that, I should have planned ahead and had a bit more birch on me. Oh well, we'll just steal some from the thingy, if it has any. It does. You see, we haven't made too much progress. We did this to there, and it should get a little bit quicker as we go along, because it obviously it's reducing in size as we go. I think if I'm going by guns, I think my favorite gun in Battlefield 6, it's tied between the SGX and the M4A1 carbine at the moment. I do like the assault rifles because they're better at mid-range than the carbine and the SMGs, but the SMGs for close range and the carbines are really good. Of course, individual preference. One of the things with Battlefield 4, 6, I keep saying 4 for some reason, is if you can't see your enemy, it doesn't really matter if you've got the best gun in the game. If they can get the drop on you in a way where you can't see them, Doesn't matter what gun you've got. They should be able to win. Also, a thermobaric grenade to the face tends to work pretty well too. I feel like they may be nerfing those though. Although I feel like they're useful because they stop people from... There's people who just camp, sit in one spot, and the thermobaric grenades actually give you a really effective way to burn them. And it also means they can't run away as quickly either, so you can actually get in there and just clear them out. Especially if they're being a pain in the bum. Yeah, go back to your hoodie. Very nice looking ship. It was a very long ship. I think the only ships that really... I think... Was it longer than the Yamato? It might have been. Yamato was heavier by 20 to 30,000 tons. I think they weighed 65,000 to 70,000 tons. So it was almost a second battleship in the Yamato. However, I don't think the Yamato was actually that much longer. It was definitely wider, which made it a much bigger ship. Also had much bigger guns too. I think the worst part about the hood is they never got the upgrades it needed. It was such a workhorse. It was the only ship of its speed that the British Navy was basically like, we need this ship in action. Especially after the repulsor was lost after the hood. Repulsor Renown. Whichever one was lost off Singapore. Force X. Yeah. I reckon one of the worst problems with the British Navy's performance in World War II was just... There's commanders who think their ships were invincible. And didn't ask for air cover when they should have. This is in Force X's case. Force X were the battleship squadron which was sent to help Singapore defend itself. And basically the Admiral went and he decided to try and take out a bunch of landing ships, but in the process of wasted his ships and put them in range of Japanese land-based aircraft. It's not like the Japanese had carriers that could go everywhere all the time. So basically he put his the Prince of Wales, which is another ship from the Bismarck story, and I think it was Renown. I reckon it's Renown. Could be wrong. And so Renown is one of the lighter battle cruisers which the British had. So you had the Hood, which is the big one, the big heavy battle cruiser. And then you had the Renowns, which are the smaller battle cruiser equivalent of the Queen Elizabeths. Thing with the Hood is its battleship equivalent was never built, which would have been something like a... I don't know if it'd be N3. Might have been N3. No, that would have been equivalent to the G3. Throwing around a lot of names here. If you're ever curious, look up Drac. Type in Dracnafal and those battleships, and you should get a short little guide on them in YouTube. He's really good at that stuff. But yeah, so what happened in Singapore with Force X was he went off to fight these landing ships. Failed to request air support from Singapore base, where we had a bunch of Australian fighter craft. Not the best fighter craft in the world, but they were fighter craft. And they would have been they would have helped. Instead, what you had was a bunch of aircraft being almost completely unopposed, just bombing the crap out of these prior to the British Navy ships. Instead of being, this big impressive force which would scare the Japanese off, became basically just ships sinking at the bottom of the sea because the commander just didn't retreat when he should have. And it's one of the biggest problems of the British Navy. Sometimes they should have just retreated rather than engage. Like, arguably, what should have happened with the Bismarck is Hood should have just been shadowing it, not engaging. Hood was a good ship. The Bismarck, in reality, people like to say it's some sort of super battleship, but its main armaments were about equivalent to the main armaments of the British Navy at the time. It had 8 15-inch guns. And then people go, "It's massive guns." It's like, yeah, but 16-inch guns have become the standard in the American Navy. And there were plans for the next level of British ships to have 16-inch guns. And then you had the Nelsons, which already outgunned the German ships. As was proven rather decisively when the Nelson finally caught up to the Bismarck. But even then, even with the 15-inch guns, that the why did I turn this? I shouldn't turn my jetpack off. Even with the 15-inch guns, and it's supposedly really heavy armor, it still had a mission kill hit to it from the. I'm jumping around a bit with these descriptions. From the Prince of Wales, it put a huge hole in its fuel tank, which was leaking everywhere. And you can't really go raiding if you've got a huge hole in your fuel tank. And then there's the fact of how it was designed with its targeting systems. Now, no disrespect to the Bismarck's crew for being... They were really well drilled. Very good shots, initially. While they were fresh and awake. And the radar they had, from what I heard, from what I was able to tell, worked pretty damn well. But everyone has to remember the ships it was going against in the Denmark Strait was the Hood, which is a ship which is probably 2 years out of... should have been in basically a full refurbishment 2 years ago at that point. It missed out on its refurbishment because of the war, to be blunt. Which would have changed its whole structure, probably given it a Queen Anne's mansion superstructure. And would have seen a massive shake-up in how its armaments were all distributed and possibly even its armour scheme. And probably fixed its engines. And Prince of Wales, it was still being fixed. As in, it was literally just fresh off the construction site. It still had engineers on board trying to fix its guns so they would actually fire and work properly. Not that its guns were faulty, it was freshly built and there were still teething issues in the whole design. Because you already had the King George V out there, which was functioning pretty well. Yeah, Prince of Wales, despite all those issues and the fact that one of its gun turrets got taken out, or basically just gave it the ghost, either one, still managed to put a mission hit kill on the Bismarck. Ignoring what happened with the Ark Royals. What are they called? What jet? You whinging at me for some reason. If you couldn't hear, my cat just rocked up and starts whinging at me. Does that occasionally. Sometimes he sometimes just wants attention. Oh, we made a lot of progress. Look at that. Really nice. do need to finish off the back at some point. Yeah. So going back to Singapore and Force X, one of the other reasons that they had major issues was they didn't test out their radar systems beforehand. So they brought out these radars, which work great in the North Sea, in the cold, but you put them in the humidity of the Malacca Strait, and suddenly they were malfunctioning all the time. Either they're just completely operational, I think, which was the case. So basically, you had the Prince of Wales, which had all these amazing anti-air aircraft systems, but no way to direct them towards incoming aircraft because its anti-air radar was non-functional. And you had the... I swear it's renowned. I keep saying that. I haven't checked. Which had a massive upgrade to it, which made it probably the preeminent anti-aircraft anything in the British Navy. And it did a magnificent job of trying to survive. But unfortunately, no air cover, thanks to the stupid Admiral. There's a lot of stupid commanders at Singapore, in my view. One of the worst problems Singapore had, part of why it fell, was it had no one invested in it. So what was supposed to be, the pride of the British Empire in the East, not counting Hong Kong, was a crumbling infrastructure. Only had enough water supply to last a couple of days, if that, in a combat situation. And wasn't properly fortified. Was lacking ammunition. Had manpower, but again, no water to supply said manpower. Yes, hey Jet. What are you doing? Hey, no, Jet. Stay away from there. Jet. Wait. Stay. Stop. Yeah. Get away from there. He's trying to jump on top of my printer. Now, the problem with me jumping on top of my printer is that's where all my, that's where all my router and everything is located. So I don't really want him playing around that stuff. So yeah, successive British governments basically led to a complete lack of investing in Singapore, which ultimately led Arthur Percival, I think, he was the main general in charge of Singapore. He was basically told, here you have the pride of the British Empire in the East. Now defend it. And then he got there and went, oh crap, I've got nothing to do this with. And led to the biggest surrender in British history. Sad thing is, if he hadn't have surrendered, they might have outlasted the Japanese anyway. Because they were also struggling with their supplies, as it turned out. However, unfortunately, hindsight's 20/20. And he had to make the decision with the information he had at the time. Which unfortunately led to the deaths of a lot of Australians. And also led to Australia basically realising that the British Empire probably wasn't the answer to its problems. There we go. Look at that. Need to get down here and finish this off. I've shown this before, but I think once you get to about maybe 2 up from here, some of the back just shoots out a bit. I think to about here, maybe. But it's got very nice lines. And as I said before, one thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing this. These are called frames, which allows me to smooth out the edges a little bit. Makes it look a bit nicer. You can see that side, looking like that. You get this side. It's got that much smoother edging to it. And looks a lot better from the top. Alright, well, that'll do it for that part. Back to the colony. Nothing's really changed since last time. Just taking a break from looking at the people not eating their food all the time. And the cooking not happening. So one issue I have is if I want to cook the cooked rice. Actually, no, cooked rice shouldn't be an issue. I just need rice in general. Do I not? I swear I collected a lot of sushi rice. Seeds. At least got a ton of durum wheat. There we go. Oh wait, what? Southeast.
I'll be back.
Why am I using my actual pick? Good question, me. Where's the other one? Ah, up top. Alright, time to kill them all. Okay. Any more? Right there.
I'll be back.
Okay. Alright, let's grab some stuff. honestly, I don't really need the iron. Don't really need all of it, to be honest. I don't know. I guess I just like collecting stuff. Grab lanterns because they're always nice. Get some string because we always seem to run out of string. What I missed? No. I'll take that too. I think there's a lantern up here too. Yes. You can tell I've kind of played this game probably a bit too much now that I recognise where things should be located on here. Yeah, that lantern there. Cool. I'm going to fix that path up. Okay. So, just double checking. Sushi go crafting. Huh. Hmm. Okay, I don't know how you're supposed to use this. I have to look into this. It's really annoying. It's no wonder it's not growing anything, because I can't put it on the ground. Even if I do my own ones over here, don't work. There we go. Anyway, that'll do it for today. Thank you for watching. If you want to leave a like or subscribe, I really appreciate it. I will be trying to do a bit more work on the hood, I think, for the next couple of sessions. And also be figuring out how to grow this ruddy sushi so I can get some damn cooked rice. Have to go look it all up, I guess. It's Sushi Go Crafting, I have to look it up. Mod and how it works. Because obviously I can't find normal rice for mine colonies. I could probably try and spawn it in the item. I have to check. I actually have never done that before, so I don't know how to do that. I might have to. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you want to leave a like or subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. If you want to also leave me a comment, throw me a comment, ask a question, anything like that, about anything I've said in the video or anything like that, feel free to do that. I always will jump on those comments and reply back as soon as possible. I don't get too many, so I'd love to see a few more coming through. And beyond that, keep doing what you're doing. Look after yourselves. Look after your pets, always. And cheerio.